All right, so from this point, we have the patient set up and ready to go. So we want to make sure that we have everything successfully clicked here in the software. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the goggles here in the bottom left. And so this turns on the goggles, and the patient may or may not hear a little hum on that right side. Again, it's just the goggles turning on and the camera motor running. And so from here, if we look in the middle of the screen, we see the eyeball. Oh, and one other thing to note on the left side, we're still on lateral head impulses. So for this video, we're gonna stick to only talking about lateral impulses, and then future videos we'll talk about the LARP and route protocols. All right, so we're gonna go to the middle of the screen. We see the patient's eye right here in the middle and this green box. If I move the green box around, everything in that bottom square kind of moves with it. So whatever's in the green box is gonna display here in this bottom screen. So the goal is to get the pupil right in the middle. One way I can do it is just by clicking anywhere in the green box and dragging it to where I want it. The other way is if the green box is over here, I can go to the patient's pupil, click right in the middle, and it'll pull the green box and center the eye right in the middle. Again, we don't really want it necessarily on really high or really low or on the sides because it will impact getting impulses to record for us. So we want it to be right in the middle. From here, we're going to click over on this arrow here and move to the next step in calibration. And so it opens up some more options for us. So I want to go through some of these options. This first button here, we're going to see it's called Enable Manual Thresholding. So if I click that button, it opens up this scaling box here underneath that bottom box, scaling kind of like a number line timeline. If I hit the plus sign, it adds more darkness to the video, to the recording, to whatever's in the box there. And if I click the minus, it's going to add more light. This is your contrast basically. And so if people have eye makeup or something, it's going to pick up on the darkest spot. So this will allow you to make a few adjustments without changing the makeup right off the bat. So we just want ideally this plus sign to be right in the middle on the pupil and not bouncing off of that. So you can adjust that if needed and as needed. So I'm just going to disable that for now and move over to the next one. This one says that we can display the grayscale image of the eye. So when I click on that, it changes it to the eyeball itself. And so some people will do this view, they just like it better. I tend to click back over to the contrast one. It just helps a little bit better to see if the pupil, if the plus sign is staying locked on the pupil. And then the next one here, the button over says to turn the center laser on. And so there's a laser that comes out of the side of the goggles on the right side. And so when I click that button, it actually puts a laser on the wall. And so the patient is going to put that right in the center of the splat or dot or whatever you have on the wall for them to fixate on. And so this just centers their head for the testing. So after we've done that, I'll click off of that and the laser disappears. And we're going to run our calibration. So when I click run, you're going to see a laser bounce left and right on the wall. And here on the screen, you're going to see the eye bounce left and right as it calibrates. And then it'll do it 4, 5, 6 times and will disappear. If it does it any longer than that, something typically is not right with the calibration and you may want to start over. If for whatever reason you're having a lot of difficulty, you can always hit default calibration, but try to make that a last resort after you've troubleshooted some other options. Once we have the calibration done, you'll see here that the right eye is calibrated. Again, that's the only one that we're measuring when we test. So all we need is the right eye. We don't need to worry about the left eye. And we're going to click over to the next thing here to continue moving through our calibration. So now we're on head check. You'll see that right here in the middle. It says it's not complete. The head check is where I'll put my hands on the patient's head and we're going to move their head side to side and just make sure that their eyes are staying locked or kind of moving along with the head as well. So you'll also see in the top right before I hit go, we have 10 seconds. So this is just a 10-second check just to make sure that everything is working properly. So I'm going to start the head check here, and then I'm going to put my hands on the patient's head and just a gentle side to side. And if you look on the screen, you should see that the colors line up. You should see that the orange head motion and the green eye motion are right on track. And again, only 10 seconds of that is needed. These are not head impulses that you're doing at this point. Okay, so once we're done, it will say complete here, and then we're going to go all the way here at the end and we're going to click check. We have accepted all of our values and we are done with calibration and ready to record. And we will do that by clicking this record button to start our tracings.